This is a movie about two women trying to come out from the shadows of the world-famous terrorist, and the most poignant, powerful, emotional scene in the film has to do with a Waschlappen. One of the very interesting things, one of the interesting aspects of the film is that it explores the life of these two women, a mother and a daughter, who are trying to come out of the shadows of this, world-famous terrorist, Carlos. And while we were in the process of filming, there was another fiction film about Carlos being made by the French director Olivier Assayas. It was called Carlos. And during the filming of the documentary, we brought Magdalena and Rosa to the Berlin premiere of the Carlos movie, fiction film. And they were standing in the shadows of the red carpet while all the actors of the Carlos movies were, walking the red carpet. And it was very bizarre because these two women, are observing from the shadows the actors walking the red carpet, playing their lives. And Magdalena, she's a photographer, she had her camera with her, and she was, photographing Nora, the actress, who was walking the red carpet. And at some point, Magdalena, lowers her camera, and Nora recognizes Magdalena. They had never met before. And for me, as a documentary filmmaker, it was fiction meets reality. It was a very, very intense moment, which at the end didn't make the cut of the film, but it was one of the great documentary experiences we had in the process of shooting. There's a sense in cinema which is kill your darlings. Oftentimes filmmakers have to take out their favorite scenes from the film for the sake of the narrative of the film. And another darling, which was killed in the process of editing, was a scene where we blindfolded Magdalena in the dark room and we put a gun on the table, and it was sort of this German game blinde Kuh, where she was, finding her way. She had the gun in her hand, and she was like, "Oh, a gun!" And I asked her, to operate the gun like she did when she was training with the Palestinian terrorists. And it was very bizarre because she couldn't really operate the gun. She tried to load it, and the gun got stuck. And then the weapons expert that we had on the set had to, intervene, and he tried to sort of, fix the gun, but he couldn't. She had broken the gun in the process, or the terrorist had broken the gun while trying to operate it. It also had a poetic element to it. You can plan as much as you want, and you can anticipate and write and be, very precise about what you would like to get. But sometimes life, deals you a card which you did not expect and which turns everything on its head. And this is what happened with the Waschlappen. This is one of these scenes that one cannot imagine. One cannot imagine, and you can only understand it in the context of the film. But it's a gift. We will see the film, and there was a situation when she came out of the visit when Carlos gave her a Waschlappe, and this was a situation taken straight out of Pulp Fiction. It was something that you cannot write, you cannot imagine, you cannot anticipate. It's one of these gifts that life gives the movie, and is the most intense scene in the film. The German premiere is here in the Munich Film Festival, which I'm very happy about, because actually this festival, the lineup of movies, I would go see almost every single film. I find that the programming is very, very interesting and right on the mark, with what's happening in cinema today, especially in the Spotlight section. So I feel very fortunate that we had our first German screening here for a German public, and it was very intense. The film screened late, and people stayed till 1 o'clock in the morning for the Q&A, and they were very engaged. So it was a very interesting process. And the film will be released in cinemas in Germany in September. So in September it will hit most German cities, and I'm very curious to see how the German audiences react, because I made the film in German. It's my first German film, and German is not my natural language. I had to learn. I hurried to the Volkshochschule to learn German in order to make the film. Even more bizarre is that my cutter, my editor, Joël Alexis, she's Belgian. So she didn't speak any German. So we had a German, an Israeli director was a Belgian cutter doing a German film, and the transcript was done by a Korean woman. So, you know, there it comes to show you. So, but I'm very curious, you know, because this movie touches the essence of a very painful part of German modern history, and I looked at it as a foreigner from the outside. So I'm very curious to see, you know, the German response to it. And judging from last night, you know, the response was very favorable. It seems like, you know, we managed to hit home. And I think one of the reasons is that because the film is not political, the film is an emotional journey. It's a very personal, emotional family drama. If one can say that again about a documentary film. But it seems to have hit home, so I'm very curious to see how German audiences will react in September, the release.